So recently I purchased a service from Wheat Waffles. So the service was basically the higher end service with a 24-hour expedited delivery. So instead of waiting 3 days, I wanted to get my results sooner, so I paid an extra $5. But the total cost of the service was $30. So $25 is the standard price. And that includes a facial analysis, your face rating, the facial analysis with both pros and cons, and then also it looks maxing advice. So I think it's cool. I wanted to try it out. So once I received the score, I was like, whoa. I thought that I was slightly rated higher. I was thinking in my mind, okay, I can see myself getting like a 5 out of 10, potentially at the lowest, but I was expecting up to maybe a 7 out of 10. And once I saw the score and the analysis, I was like, okay, this makes a little more sense. But obviously it's a bit more harsh. His ratings is typically between, I believe, like 2, 3. Like it's like from 2 out of 10 up to a 9. And nines are very rare, as well as like 2s and 3s are quite rare, especially 2s. 2s are quite rare. And then once you get towards the average like score, which is typically, I believe it's like 3 to 5, and average is around like a 4, like almost up to a 5 out of 10. All right, so to cut straight to the point, you are a 4 out of 10. The yellow highlighting of it and the text colors means I'm in the normie tier, which is between 4 to 6 out of 10. And my best features is my face has equal facial thirds, so it's evenly distributed between my forehead, mid face, and my lower face. Long ramus. Jawline has good forward growth. So just to, I guess, show you my jawline, you can see here that it's perfectly like in line here. And that it's not, my jawline isn't like protruding backward. It's very much so in line. So I guess that's what that jawline has good forward growth, as well as good chin projection, which is also something I talked about. And then good eyebrow thickness and shape, good hair thickness and texture, as well as a good hairline. So these were my best features that I got. Now, in terms of my worst features in order of importance, number one, and this is probably the most obvious thing, just if you even look at my face right now, like I have a very puffy face, and it was also Thanksgiving, so I ate some more. But now I've been cutting down this last like 1 to 2 weeks, and I'm definitely 100% overweight. I'm right around 275 pounds at around a little above 25% body fat at 6'4". So the one good thing is I do have like good height, but in terms of my body fat percentage, like it is way too high, and I'm very much so out of shape. So that's the easiest number one. It's covering up a lot of my jaw definition, because my actual bone structure, I have a higher set cheekbones, like a pretty good jawline. I've never gotten like I would say 17, maybe 18% body fat in my life. I've never been that lean before, besides like when I was a kid. So I've always been on the huskier or like a little more overweight side, maybe like around 18, 19, 20% body fat. So yeah. Number two, I have rounded cheeks, which is also due to, once again, being overweight. Loose hyoid skin, which is like the double chin, like the skin underneath. It's like the skin underneath here, which also, once again, like rounded cheeks. Mostly owing to the high body fat percentage, upper and lower eyelid exposure, a slight negative canthal tilt. And for anyone who's not really familiar with these terms, what that means is like my eyes that are in line, instead of being a positive canthal tilt, this, like, let's say this is neutral position, would be something like this, which is a very attractive, it can be very attractive, but if it's too positive, that's a negative, as well as same thing of being overly negative. So I have a slight negative canthal tilt. So my eyes are a little bit more tilted in the direction that I mentioned, which makes it look a little bit sleepier. Same thing with upper and lower eyelid exposure. Thin upper lip, but I have like a thick lower lip. So jawline looks too rounded. So ideally your jaw should have defined angles and form a trapezium shape. Yours just looks a bit too rounded. Gonian isn't sharp enough. It's too rounded. So the gonian is, I believe it's the apex of the lower jaw. So somewhere around here, this is my gonian right over here. And obviously it's way too rounded because one of the facts is that I'm overweight. So that's completely rounded, completely covered, which affects the overall look of the jawline, and it also looks soft. So it's a softer look as opposed to a sharper, more angular look. And then my skin texture is overall quite rough. So these are some of the things of some positive, my best features as well as my worst features. The main thing that you can really that are mainly pointed out is the high body fat percentage kind of covers a lot of this stuff. I feel like fully in my control. So just by getting leaner and getting at a lower body fat percentage will help a lot. And then overall for the upper eyelid and lower eyelid exposure, as well as slight negative canthal tilt, this is something that's out of my control. I'm sure if I can get leaner that maybe my eyelids might look a little bit better if I take care of my eyes a little more, as well as some minor eyelid exercises. But besides that, I'm not going to do anything insane for it. So besides that, this is some of the advice that I received from Wheat Waffles on some of the short-term looks maxing recommendations, which the number one point is go to the gym, consistently go to the gym. So I'm just going to read verbatim of what he said, which was gym. As already stated, your biggest issue is body fat percentage. It needs to be lowered because as of now, it is hiding a significant amount of definition in your face. Put simply, high body fat percentage is killing your looks. The potential is there for you to be more attractive. Work just needs to be put in. Make sure you're in a caloric deficit in order to cut weight. So it's very pragmatic, very practical advice that I already know of, from training for several years and also dieting as well. But still, it's just more of a thing to get self-aware about. Hey, you got to work on this. So that's the first big tip. Number 2 is start a skincare routine. So your skin, he said, my overall skin texture is overly rough at the moment. There are plenty of tutorials. You can find the products that works best for you. For me personally, I just use Tiege Hanley, and then I also use a CeraVe eye cream. I literally just started using this. I've had the skincare stuff. I was just so lazy that I literally wasn't even washing my face with any soap, just a little bit of water, and that was it. And even then, I would sometimes miss days of washing my face consistently. 3, haircut is good. It suits your skull shape, so keep the same. Number 4, it appears you have good beard growing genetics. Grow your beard out more. Make sure it is well groomed. And if you're able to shape it the right way, you'll be able to give the illusion of a sharper gonian angle, which is ideal. And then style is good. Keep the same. Stick with casual wear, basic t-shirts, jeans, trousers, etc. I already know my style. My style is actually smart casual. So I'm definitely going to keep my style, keep my haircut kind of the way it is, maybe modify a little more, make it look a little cleaner. And yeah, besides that, I'm not going to do anything crazy about this, but the main focus for me is literally being in a caloric deficit. So for my mid to long-term looks maxing recommendations, number 1, surgery-wise, he said he wouldn't recommend anything as I don't think it's needed. And then he just wished me best of luck. He said, best of luck. I don't think you'll have issues long-term. There are clear paths for you to take. I could pretty much summarize what you need to do in 2 steps: lower body fat percentage and date. So very straightforward advice. I think it's really something realistic I can do to really improve my overall, attractiveness. And it's some stuff that I already knew of. So I think the interesting thing about this is that, he gives you some pretty decent advice. And I will say that, is it worth $25 or the $30 that I paid? For me, it was. But for others, I would say you can probably figure it out for yourself if you just look at some of the points that he goes over. And I would be a little more hypercritical on certain things. Don't just try to stretch out your jawline and try to do certain things to give yourself an extra point. But I would try to be a little more critical and being honest with the way you look, as well as looking at it from an objective point of view. So a lot of this is very Eurocentric. It's very European beauty standards. So if you are someone who is of, of color, and there are certain features that you have or that you potentially really can't get. So like a lot of the hunter eyes is a very, it's a very Caucasian feature, right? Other people can have it as well, but I would say besides like doing a blepharoplasty, it's going to be tough to get even a similar look. So I mean, I'm not going to personally. I was thinking about doing surgery for a little bit, but the more I think about it, the more I feel like I don't really need it, honestly. And I feel like if I just straight up just get really lean, and just once again work on my jaw a little bit, like chew some gum and just have a really good skincare, haircut, I feel like I'll be fine. Plus my height really helps a lot. So even if I do get to like a 6 or potentially 7 out of 10 or whatever his scale is, like I'm 6'4", so I have it good when it comes to like other things and other aspects of my life. So besides my face, like if I can get my face like any more attractive, basically, it's just a big plus, and will help a lot. So that's something I'm going to work on. But besides that, I actually kind of enjoyed this a little bit because it's just interesting seeing someone else's point of view. And I've been watching some of his content for a little bit, and I always was curious on just the black pill in general and how black pillars think. It's not necessarily like completely wrong, because I think there's some really great information and points on boosting your attractiveness that you can learn from the black pill, but it's also important to look at other aspects as well. But really, your looks do matter. And I think looks maxing, the whole idea of looks maxing is, once again, to maximize your looks, to maximize your features that you have, and seeing the results that you get compared to when you didn't do that, compared to when you were a little more or maybe a lot more unattractive. And I think it also gives you a little bit more incentive to see what you need to do and the work that you need to put in. So yeah, I thought it was really fun. I would love to hear your guys' feedback as well as some of your experiences. So yeah, definitely leave a comment down below. But besides that, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.